Hello everybody, my name's Nick and his name's Marty from The Rational Gamers, and this is the weekly Rational Webcast for the 4th of April 2016. This week we're talking about how people are not happy with the Oculus Rift. Surprisingly enough, then again it was bought by Facebook, so not surprisingly enough. PSVR may be coming to PC in the future. Stop drinking on the webcast. Xbox Dev Mode turns any Xbox One into a development kit. Final Fantasy 15 is not coming to PC. Video games may actually become a legitimate career path, with scholarships coming to a American university. Bandi Namco wants people to stop streaming Dark Souls 3, and we have a list of this year's April Fools in gaming. I just hit my microphone, I'm sorry. How are you this week, Marty? As if I need to ask.
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm fine.
It's early and you look tired.
Well, I always look tired, don't you? Like a baby. And this week, my child learnt something new. She looked at me straight dead in the eyes, trumped on me as loud as you've ever heard, and then just laughed and clapped. So she's getting a handle on vulgar humour, which I do appreciate.
Yes, she's definitely taking after you now, isn't she?
I think it's fair to say. I'm very proud.
I remember when you used to do that to me.
What? I've never done that, you fool. So anyway, shall we talk about games?
Yes, we could do. Why are people not happy with the Oculus Rift, Marty, apart from it being owned by Mark Zuckerberg and that entire disgraceful website that about 1.5 billion people use?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a good portion of the reason
week.
why people are unhappy with it is because of Facebook specifically. When you're using the Oculus Rift, you will tend to use the Oculus Home program. Now, even if you try to shut the Oculus Home program, it will stay on, and it will then constantly send more information through to the Facebook servers. So, in other words, when you're using an Oculus, you are essentially being spied on. Much in the same way that when you use Windows 10, you're constantly being spied on, but this is a consumer level device. It seems a bit sordid, don't you think?
Can't say I'm surprised. That seems completely within Facebook's remit, judging by what they've done in the past with all this security and privacy controversy with their terms and conditions over the past God knows how many years. So it kind of makes sense that they would extend that to the Oculus Rift. Not saying it's not completely douche-like, I mean it is. But I can't say I'm completely surprised.
Yeah, it's just a little worrying that this is, as soon as the Oculus starts up, we're starting off on a bad foot in that respect. Now if we start to look at other things, pre-orders, kind of a lot of people were expecting to receive their pre-orders now, especially those that pre-ordered straight away. Most people still haven't got anything yet, and a good portion of people haven't had any money taken out of their account, so they're clearly not getting their Oculus yet. So you're looking at their order shipping apparently within 1 to 3 weeks, but you're not actually getting any information from Oculus itself. In fact, a good portion of information now has just been mined from the website and from random pages that people have managed to find, kind of beta pages. That's the only way that they're getting any information. They're not actually getting anything from Oculus themselves. Which, again, they're just... Yes, I appreciate it's just starting, but you want to start off on the right foot. You want to start off with a degree of trust. And that's really being eroded very, very quickly.
It's a real shame because Oculus Rift was the one to start this whole VR thing. That was the only one for a long time that was pushing the envelope. And then it seems like as soon as they got bought up by Facebook, it all just collapsed. nobody cared really about the Oculus Rift anymore, and the Oculus Rift didn't even really seem to care about itself. And it seems like it's not so much about the VR anymore. It's more about, like you say, data mining and general Facebook stuff. That's why the PSVR and the Vive have become the go-to things now. I mean, at this point, you should just, if you're gonna spend that much on the Oculus Rift, you might as well just spend a little bit more and go and get the Vive. At least then you know you're gonna get, decent, and you're not gonna have like all your private information stolen.
Another thing is, which is considered to be smaller by some people, but I'd say it's just as big as anything else, is that Oculus Rift was originally advertised to come with 2 faceplates. In other words, you were going to get given one which was just a regular faceplate and another which helped people that were wearing glasses. However, it's only being shipped with 1 faceplate. So some people are having trouble just using the Oculus Rift. Some people that were kind of told that it would be fine, and now they're getting screwed over.
See, that's stupid, because even the relatively cheap cardboard mount for mobile phone that I bought my mum, she can wear glasses with it, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like, what the hell on the case of Oculus?
I think the difference with Oculus, to be fair to them in that respect, is that it's a heck of a lot more important that it's in the right position on your face.
Maybe.
So they can't kind of be loose with these things. It has to fit perfectly. Which again is more reason why they should have sent the second faceplate out, regardless of the fact that they also advertised that it would come with the second faceplate.
I just don't, it's just so horrible to see a full-on grace like this. It's just like, why?
Now,
we expected such good things. And as always, Valve have come in and said, you have been failed by the false messiahs. We are your Lord and Saviour. Bow down to us.
Now, if we start to now kind of move on to not necessarily issues with Oculus, but reasons why the Vive is looking to be the better option. One of them is that the Vive's field of view appears to be around about 26% larger than the Rift. That's a significant increase, and will potentially make for a far better experience.
It's supposed to be complete VR. It's supposed to include your peripheral vision. No.
Another issue is that the Rift. The Rift is meant to be similar to Vive in a lot of ways, and to an extent is meant to support not necessarily room scale, but at least movement within the virtual reality. However, there's no form of what they call the chaperone feature from Vive, which is that if you get too close to a wall, the Vive will make you aware of it. It will throw up a wall in the virtual world.
I can attest to that.
Now, there's no such thing within the Oculus Rift, which has led to a lot of people just wandering into walls.
See, that seems like a rookie mistake. You would have thought that that's one of the main things you would implement in every VR that included movement functions like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd have thought that's a pretty basic thing to have after any form of testing, but apparently not. And then other than that as well, there's also the issue that the Vive screen is supposedly 3 times brighter. Now again, this isn't something that I certainly can't test, and it's just something that kind of people are discussing. But at the moment, that's the kind of initial number, is that it's 3 times brighter, and again would therefore be a superior experience. Now put that together with the fact that the Rift's deliveries are so poor. It probably means that if you pre-order a Vive, you're probably going to receive it before you'd receive a Rift, even though a Rift's release date is about a month prior.
But they're pretty good on this. People didn't really. There was no complaints about the shipping of the Steam controller or anything, to my knowledge, and it's kind of a similar kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really stupid that you'll get a Vive before you get an Oculus Rift, even though the Rift is released sooner. But I said before that the Oculus Rift was kind of like the middle ground between like the PSVR and the Vive in terms of like price and functionality and everything. But it seems like the Oculus Rift is being such it's being hit with such criticism that people are just going to discount it altogether. And I actually think that's going to force a lot of consumers towards the PSVR as opposed to the Vive, simply for the case of price. And it's like the level of accessibility, really.
Yeah, I do think that we're getting. The thing that really upsets me is that this is that these are people that have spent a heck of a lot of money in order to be the very first people to use this technology. These are the people that are going to be shouting from the rooftops about your technology. That are going to be the people that essentially sell it for you to the next wave of consumers, to the largest wave of consumers. But these are the people that, for some fucking reason, you're screwing over. These are the people that you're upsetting because you're not looking after them as you should. These are the creme de la creme. These are where your money is going to come from. So why on earth are you not treating them like fucking kings?
I get the impression Facebook just wanted to be in on something new, and they don't really care because they make enough money from ad revenue on Facebook anyway. You know, like I said, over 1 billion users having adverts on their Facebook every single day. People using it like 24 hours a day. It's fucking ridiculous. They probably don't even care about the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have thought that there would be some degree of, we've invested a hell of a lot of money into this, let's make sure that it's done right.
Well, the fact is that Oculus have. And I get the impression that Oculus still might care, but their owners say no. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it is a maybe. It's very much conjecture, isn't it? Something like that.
Well, yeah, that's all we can really do at this point.
But well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is that these are facts. These are issues that are here and now. They're big problems. I mean, I should say that this has come from almost all of these points are from a Reddit post by a woman called Love the Teabag. So thank you very much to Reddit user Love the Teabags for collating all this information. Teabag.
Well, the fact that Knight's Frost, labelled as the Black Mesa developer, has actually got involved in this post is interesting. But then again, they might be Valve fanboys as much as I am.
Fair point. But yeah, I think when you start to look at these issues, and when you also think that the Oculus Rift doesn't come with kind of the room scale VR that a lot of people are looking for now, and it doesn't come with the controllers that you really need to play it properly. It doesn't come with the touch controllers.
I mean, when you think that the Vive,
less and less reasonable.
Yeah, I mean the Vive is a full package, and you can get the full package and done. Yeah, it's expensive, but that's it, done and done.
But that's the thing. I don't think it's going to be that expensive. The controllers for the the Oculus Rift are going to be expensive in themselves.
Well, you reckon? Like, because the Oculus is about 500 quid, is it?
I think the difference between the two is essentially £200.
Yeah, but then the controllers, do you reckon they're going to be like another like £200 on top of it?
Well, no, I think they're going to be at least kind of £100 at the very least. And then you chuck on top of that delivery, suddenly the price is very, very close. And the difference is that you're actually getting something that's room scale if you buy the Vive.
Definitely. And when you put it like that, it kind of brings the financial aspect of the Oculus Rift up to the level of the Vive, but the technology and what you get from it is still vastly subpar. So you are much better if you're going to go for that level of, in terms of the financial side of it. If you're going to go for that level, you might as well go for Vive. But if you're hoping to save money, then go for the PSVR. I mean, the PSVR you just use with the Move controllers and the controller, don't you? The DualShock 4. DualShock 4?
Yeah, I mean, you can either use DualShock 4 or you can use the Move controller. So it's pretty. It's similar to what both of these other options are doing at the moment. They've got kind of a virtual reality movement type of thing with the Move controllers, whilst at the same time having something that's a more traditional sit down and play with the DualShock 4 or Xbox One controller in this case.
So at this point, I can definitely see the PSVR price coming down kind of steeply within the next few years, but I can't see the Vive coming down as much, respectively. And considering you can pick up Move controllers for next to nothing now, and the PlayStation 4 is only going to keep reducing price because of the new PS4K that's going to come out. So if you just want a normal PS4, then it definitely seems like the budget way to go. The everyday person's VR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a fair suggestion that could be the case, especially with the latest news that Sony had an interview in Japan with Nikkei, Japan. In which Sony stated that they are considering bringing PlayStation VR to PC. They say that the focus is PS4, whatever, but that they are considering bringing it to PC.
Well, of course the focus is going to be PS4, but the very fact they're considering bringing it to PC at some point in the future shows that they've got their heads on straight. I mean, there's a lot more you can do on the PC than you can do on a PS4. I mean, I don't just mean that in the fact that, oh yeah, PC's better, blah, blah, blah. I mean, in terms of people used the Microsoft Kinect on PCs for mocap, and people modded it and did it for various different things. And you can have the PSVRs being used as budget devices for businesses, for I think I said this before, like architects looking around their constructs of houses and stuff. I mean, there's just so much scope for it to be used with programs and not just gaming. So I think this is a very good avenue for them to be investigating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. The idea of bringing something that is that much cheaper into that same landscape. It's really good because it opens up new avenues for sales from PlayStation, and at the same time it provides more options for the customers purchasing the PSVR, whilst at the same time also providing kind of an element of stability as well. The knowledge that even if the PlayStation 4 is to be destroyed in 2-3 years' time, that you're still going to be able to play things on this thing that you've invested in, this £350 lump that you've purchased on top of the price of your console. And I think that additional security, I mean, personally, if they said tomorrow this will definitely also work with PC in the future, then I would just buy one. It's as simple as that. The only thing that's stopping me from purchasing a PlayStation VR at the moment is because there's no assurance that it will be supported for that long. The last thing I want to do is invest £350 in something that isn't going to be supported for any length of time. Because let's face it, console manufacturers are fickle. But PC manufacturers are less so.
Well, PC manufacturers can't be fickle, not really, because the PC isn't like consoles inherently. It's not a fixed thing that changes every few years. It's an ongoing evolution, and you can definitely keep the if you're just using the PSVR, then there's nothing to stop you integrating that into that ongoing evolution. I mean, eventually it's going to get to a point where it's just not good enough for the really new stuff. But that will be vastly outside the range of the PS4's lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely see what you're saying in terms of they're basically extending its lifespan and investing in it for the future.
I'd say it's there are no negatives for Sony, and there are no negative. Well, there aren't as many negatives for Sony, and there are certainly no negatives for the consumer. Just ensuring greater choice is always positive for a consumer. And as I say, for me, that would just solidify my purchase. I mean, even I'm still considering it now, but that knowledge that would definitely be useful with PC, that would be it. I would buy it.
I mean, even if they, the focus is obviously going to be on PS4 for the lifespan of a PS4, it's probably going to be taken over to the PS5, if there is going to be such a thing. But at some point, they can, when they stop supporting it for PS whatever, they can just hand it over to the consumers and let them do whatever they want with it. They could make it open source or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they could make it a long-lasting thing. They could still get sales on it without anybody having a PS4. They could get sales purely on third-party things. I like using the example of the game Sins of a Solar Empire for things like this, because that game, I think I've only played the actual game about once or twice, but it's got a very, very, very strong mod support. Mm-hmm. Meaning that you can implement pretty much anything you want, any mod you want. And most of the sales on that game actually come from the Star Trek mods for it. Mm-hmm. Which is fucking ridiculous. It's more like it's a Star Trek game as opposed to, Sins of a Solar Empire. They presented a platform which others built on, and I think the PSVR could become one of these platforms for the future.
Maybe so. I mean, just to put into context what it is that we're talking about. This is the passage translated by some dude that was drunk on a Saturday night, so it's not exact, but it's pretty good apparently. But PlayStation VR is not just a PlayStation 4 peripheral. While Ito warned that nothing will happen right away, he revealed that Sony was considering plans to enable the use of PlayStation VR through connection with PCs in the future. Since PlayStation 4 shares a lot of its internals with PCs, the possibility is there. At the moment, we are focused on games and are not ready to make any announcements at this stage. But I'd say there will be an expansion into various fields.
Basically, they're open to suggestions. They're open to the future.
Yeah, I mean,
wherever that may be.
That last kind of half sentence there. But I'd say there will be an expansion into various fields. That confirmation, that specificity of there will be an expansion. That's pretty good.
See, they're not gonna keep it confined exclusively to just the PS4. They know it can be useful elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, they know it's bigger than the PS4, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which again, the additional choice for the consumer is great, and I'd have thought the additional choice for PC gamers as much as anybody else would also be great. They've suddenly got a cheaper option for VR.
Oh yeah.
And what appears to currently be a very functional option for VR, which nobody else has really come up with at this kind of price range.
I mean, in terms of VR, it's cheap and cheerful, but it works, and it works well. Can't complain, basically.
Yeah, be great, and because let's face it, it's not as necessarily as advanced as something like the Oculus Rift and the Vive. The screens the screen isn't necessarily as good, high pixel, whatever else. It does mean that it would also work better on older PCs potentially. So again, it opens that up to people that aren't necessarily willing to invest another £1,000 in a new PC.
I mean, you can't have new things constantly just like top end. That's short-sighted. I mean, that's why you have the new mobile phones come out, the Samsung S7, brand new high-tech technology, the best out there. But then they go and release other phones that are actually much poorer in comparison, but are much, much cheaper, but still functional. Mm-hmm. It's no different for this kind of thing. There has to be there has to be different levels. There has to be different options for people. Because, not everybody is going to go for the most advanced. Not everybody can afford the most advanced. And a lot of people don't want the most advanced. There are a lot of people that would prefer to have the simpler one.
Mm-hmm. So
opens up the market.
For me personally, great news. Absolutely
it's
fantastic.
A good choice.
Now let's talk about Xbox, because we talk about everything on this show. We're the rational gamers. Xbox. Yeah, interesting. They when the Xbox was first announced, the Xbox One was first announced, they stated that every Xbox One would be capable of going into dev mode and would therefore be usable for making new games, which was kind of interesting. Didn't necessarily, it's one of those things that doesn't really appeal to everybody, but appeals to a niche market. However, that just never appeared, and nobody kind of really, people complained, but nobody really cared that much. However, it suddenly just appeared. The Build 2016 keynote, that they specified that it will be turning up, and it was released later the same day. Now every Xbox One can be a dev console.
Do you get the impression Microsoft kind of said all that when it was being announced and forgot about it? I've just turned up some paperwork and went, oh shit, do it now!
Yeah, to flip the switch quick.
Yeah.
I think there's always a worry with something like this that it's going to lead to piracy. So there have got to be a lot of checks in place.
The pirates have found a way anyway. They always do. There's no way you can completely stop them. If people want to hack your systems, they will. It's just that simple.
Yeah,
it's probably people who've been managed to hack the Xbox to put it into dev mode already.
It's you don't want to invite these things.
No, you don't want.
No,
you don't want to
inviting it.
No, you don't want to invite them. I'm just saying it will happen regardless of. I mean, you can try and put safeguards in so it doesn't happen, and it will reduce it, but it won't stop it.
Absolutely,
it's my point.
Mm-hmm. But yes,
there are always people savvy enough to do that shit.
Mm-hmm. But so it's pretty interesting. Now, anybody can just try and make Xbox One games. This, you've got to imagine, is a massive boom for the indie market, especially for Xbox One indie market. So we could well see more universal Windows platform games coming out in the near future.
Yeah. I mean, PC's got a lot of indie capability, especially with a lot of game engines being made open source, but the consoles not so much. But now, you can give it a go. Everybody deserves a go.
It's a heck of a lot more accessible, and that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Meh.
That's the way to reduce piracy the most. Convenience and accessibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True.
Such as piracy has reduced since Netflix and Amazon Prime and everything like that has come into being. Simply because it's there and people will be willing to pay it if it's there.
Yeah, it's
make your service easier than pirating.
Yeah, exactly. I know that in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of people were pirating music, for example. And then suddenly streaming became a thing. You get Spotify and you get YouTube and all of these different places doing a good job of getting music to the masses. And then suddenly people don't want to. Certainly nowhere near as many people pirate these things anymore.
Let's talk about your Final Fantasy bollocks.
Oh yeah, so Final Fantasy 15.
I don't care about Final Fantasy.
You never do. You don't care about anything cool. So, Final Fantasy 15. It's not being developed for PC, which strikes me as such a weird thing. They're suddenly getting a lot of sales from PC, specifically through Steam. And I assume Square Enix has their own platform? Yeah, they do. They have their own store.
No, they have a store, they don't have a platform.
Yeah, their store. So they make money from PC, and the consoles nowadays are basically PCs. So it seems so obvious to just make it a third platform. It's a heck of a lot more accessible nowadays and a heck of a lot easier than it's ever been. But they still don't care, so they are not making a PC version. They're only making console versions.
Then again, I don't know many people who have actually had and are really kind of that. I don't know many people who really care about Final Fantasy on PC. It's mainly always been a console thing, so maybe they just not that many people really care. So why should we?
I mean, you're right in saying that it's always been a console thing. That's fair enough. But you've just got to look at the shift in demographics nowadays, and how many more people are now gaming on PCs, and how many of those people used to be console gamers that have now migrated to PC. And if you look at those sorts of numbers, you can see that this is a stupid move. A lot of people that will have been console gamers at one point and will have enjoyed Final Fantasy now game on their PC and are not able to play Final Fantasy 15 without purchasing an Xbox One or PS4.
My question is, why would you want to play Final Fantasy 15? I think it's ironic. I think it's ironic that it's called Final Fantasy because it was supposed to be the last game by that developer.
Yeah, he thought it was his last shot. Yeah.
Now it's on its 24th installment or something.
Yeah.
Because there's it's ridiculous stuff like Final Fantasy X-2. How the fuck can you have Final Fantasy X-2?
Yeah. No, don't even get started on 13.
13 Mark 12.
Yeah. So, speaking of Final Fantasy 15, I played the demo. Yay! I actually got I got two things this week. I had a Doom beta key for the closed beta, and this Final Fantasy 15 demo, and I didn't have time to play much at all, so I ended up giving my demo key away. My brother-in-law did play the Doom demo. I can give you his thoughts on that now. So, Carl...
How awesome is it?
You know Carl, you've seen Carl, you've met Carl, you've all seen Carl.
Newbie Carl, yes.
Newbie Carl. So, he said, played a bit of the Doom beta. Very disappointing.
Oh shit.
It feels like any arena-based shooter from when those games were popular, but not in a good way. Unreal Tournament 3 was far more satisfying. So I then said...
Well, this disappoints me because I've actually become invested in the whole new Doom thing. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I then said, oh man, that's a shame to hear, blah blah blah. He said, I will wait for the reviews before deciding whether to get it, because even though I've tried the multiplayer, it's only really the single player I'm bothered about.
Oh yeah, me too.
So I wouldn't necessarily kind of abandon all hope if you enter here, but yeah, it's not looking good.
I've got it.
You've got what? You've pre-ordered the game. You idiot. So, Final Fantasy 15. I played the demo, as a lot of people, whatever. I just thought to talk about it a little bit. So, yeah, first of all, the graphics are incredible. I mean, it's really pretty. Certain elements of it are really nice.
Well, that's what Final Fantasy generally excels at, is making it pretty.
Yeah, I mean, some of
making
the
graphics
nice.
are
fantastic. Kind of when you do the summons and so on, absolutely mesmerizing.
None of the rest of it makes sense though, and it goes on for fucking forever. Also, I've never actually played a Final Fantasy game.
But
I don't want to. I don't want to.
The problem that I have with it is the combat. The combat is just ridiculous. I mean, it's the idea is that it's stolen the combat from Kingdom Hearts. The combat of which was really good, very satisfying, and everything else. But in Final Fantasy 15, because it's an action-based game with numbers that fly up for no reason.
But MMO style.
It's effectively single button. So you just it is very much MMO style. You wander up to an enemy and you press one button and you will hit it. You can potentially dodge, and that's it.
Wait, so it's not turn-based?
No, it's action. Just,
Oh, okay.
okay.
Yeah, no, I know. Final Fantasy's like you were like running around, and then when you went into combat, you would go into a turn-based arena type thing. Stop doing that!
That's you. You
make me want to harm myself. A very sharp-looking USB here.
Something USB 2. So, yeah. So
that's the thing you take away from that. It's only USB 2.
So I played it. It was the combat. So you wander up to an monster and you fight it, but you can literally just hold the button and you will just keep hitting it. So it is just MMO, and it's pointless. It's annoying, and it just makes the combat boring as shit. Whereas Kingdom Hearts, the combat was interesting. The combat was fun. I mean, maybe if you carry on further through, it adds more things to the combat. But I kind of don't believe that it will. So it's incredibly pretty. There's some really weird glitchy shit going on because you can jump and the camera goes. But yeah, I'm not sold. I'm not sold.
I wasn't from the beginning, but I don't care about that combat in that. What I do know, the combat I do care about. Pokken!
What?
I want to buy a Wii U now.
You always rip on the Wii U. It's like a main thing. That's your signature thing. You bomb Valve.
It's got Pokken on
rip
now.
On the Wii U. What? You don't even like Pokemon?
I like the old Pokemon. I know. I like the idea of Pokken.
Okay, fair enough. So do I. It's cool. What do you think of Chandelure?
Chandelure?
What do you think of Chandelure?
Yeah, I don't know
big
your
Pokken fan.
5,000 new Pokemon.
It's one of the Pokemon.
If I got that, I'd just play with the original 151.
The Pokken tournament only has like 20 characters in it. One of which is Chandelure, which is basically a chandelier that can fight.
That's stupid. Well, what I've seen of it,
Still on the game?
half the bloody promotional material only shows the original first-gen Pokemon, for God's sake. Like Charizard, Mewtwo, Pikachu.
Yep, they are. Yeah.
Just goes to show that nobody really cares about the new Pokemon.
That's fair enough. I don't think many people do.
Just retcon the motherfucker.
Whoa, that's never going to happen.
Please let it happen.
This is Nintendo. I mean, yes.
Yeah, it's just Nintendo that consistently bring out Zelda games that don't make sense in any kind of timeline.
They do have a timeline. They have an official
yeah, and about
timeline.
3 different universes.
Yes, it splits off, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It's an official timeline, and everybody loves it, and nobody argues with the timeline. So, shut up.
I watch Matt Pat. I know what I'm talking about.
No, you don't, because Matt Pat doesn't know what he's talking about. Matt Pat's a dick, and I hate Matt Pat.
To be fair, I don't want to rip on the guy because he seems alright, but he seems a little bit off. I do like the stuff he does though, so I don't like how he keeps bringing up his face in different in the episodes.
Because he's a vain twat. So,
well, he used to be an actor or something.
An actor.
Actor.
Yeah, he was in a few shitty plays. I mean, probably in Spider-Man the musical. I'm pretty sure he was a part of that.
Spider-Man. I actually watched The Amazing Spider-Man last night.
That's not the musical.
I know. It just made me remember. I actually got that because I was. I was doing tedious stuff, and I wanted something to put on in the background. I was going through Netflix. So I was like, oh, okay. I've never actually seen that. Let's stick that on. I don't like Andrew Garfield. He's weird. But I do like what they did with the actual character of Spider-Man. I keep saying that Spider-Man... Trix doesn't like Spider-Man because she seems to think he's a whiny little bitch. Judging by the fact that she saw Tobey Maguire play it when he was like, "Oh, American! Oh no, the black suit! Ah!" But the Spider-Man they had in the Amazing Spider-Man, I like the bit where he's having a go at the car thief, and he's being really snarky and kind of sarcastic and stuff. That is actually the Spider-Man I kind of imagined. That's the kind of Spider-Man I know. That's the Spider-Man I remember from the cartoon when I was little. And if they can make Spider-Man like snarky and jokey and sarcastic in Civil War and in the new MCU, then I'm okay with that. Basically, I was surprised the fact that I didn't hate the Amazing Spider-Man as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, it's kind of okay. The second one's naff.
The lizard looks fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And as always, I don't like the romance stuff between Spider-Man and anybody. But you know, the action sequences aren't bad. It's kind of fun. It's a matinee type thing.
Meh.
Anyway,
I watched Batman.
rational gamers,
Superman.
not rational film critics.
I watched Batman vs Superman.
Did you? How shit was it? I've read
it
so.
wasn't terrible. It was kind of. I mean, elements of it were absolutely abysmal, but if you can get past those, then it's not terrible. It's a reasonable movie.
Well, the reviews basically say. I mean, it got 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, but those were the reviewers, the critics' scores, whereas the actual viewers got about 70 something. I guess people just like the spectacle of two superheroes beating the crap out of each other.
I don't know. If I were you, I would watch it. It's good enough to watch.
Okay.
And what's his name? Ben Affleck is pretty good in it.
Really?
Yeah, pretty good.
You see that they're filming extra scenes for Suicide Squad to make it more comedic.
That's good. That's one of the biggest issues with the Batman vs Superman film. They just completely forgot the fact that you need to make the two characters likable, and the best way to do that is to add some form of humour and to add elements of kind of humanity to them.
That's how Marvel nailed it with the Avengers, because they added that humanity in that.
You have the whole scene in the second Avengers film, in Age of Ultron, in which they try and pick up Thor's hammer. And it doesn't need to be there. I mean, yes, you could argue it's kind of setting the stage for this, that, and the other, but it doesn't need to be there in the film at all. But it was funny, and it showed,
awesome.
All of the characters kind of still being super, but also having the sense of humour about the fact that they are still humans. And
well, they are people.
So
even the god, even Thor, he's in on it, and he's just joking about, and he's a fucking deity.
Exactly, and that's what they don't. That's what they really missed with the Batman vs Superman film.
Yeah, Batman vs Superman. They're just kind of grimacing at each other all the time, aren't they?
Yeah, there were maybe 3 bits of humour in the whole film, and one of those is shown in the trailer anyway, and another one of those is just so awkward. It's that's the biggest issue with it. If they suddenly added small amounts of humour in there every now and again, the film would be great. It would get to that point, but they didn't, so it's okay.
Well, it's a Zack Snyder film. What do you expect? It's always dark and gritty.
Anyway, you're meant to be talking about video game scholarships.
I certainly am.
Come on,
UCI.
do it.
I don't know what that stands for, but it's basically a university in Los Angeles.
Irvine.
What?
Irvine.
Yeah, whatever. Is thinking about scholarships for video games, like esports. I find this very interesting because stop dancing, because it's video games becoming more mainstream, and some people might say, "Oh, it's stupid to have scholarships for esports." Wait a minute, you're saying it's stupid to have scholarships for games, like the game of American football or basketball, you know, pastimes, hobbies, that have become big businesses. Oh wait, like esports has become. Makes sense. I mean, this is a new thing for a new generation. This is taking the step into the future. This is legitimizing video games in a way that we have never known it before. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stigma around it, but at the end of the day, if you can have people kicking a ball for a career and people taking it that seriously, why can't you have that on like video games? People who play video games, people who play StarCraft for a living, are way more intelligent than people who play football for a living. I mean, you need to strategize. You need to quick reflexes, and I don't know. It's just, I think this is interesting. I think it might work. I mean, just look at South Korea, for instance. They're way ahead of the game. Esports is a real thing over there, and I think it would be nice if that just happened anywhere else. And it's good to see the Western world taking that approach. So, you don't care, do you, Marty? You just sat there, you were dancing for half of that.
It's true. I come at it from a slightly more cynical point of view. The way I see it is that if you can get somebody that is dedicated to video games, then there's no reason why they can't turn that dedication to something else, kind of more lucrative, such as education. And that is what they're effectively hoping for, that these people will be good students, because they've shown themselves capable of dedication in a way that not a lot of people can, putting thousands of hours into these things. So yeah, I come at it from a slightly more cynical point of view, that they are doing this to ensure that they get the best students, and a type of student that currently isn't being poached.
Well, I think you're going to get much better work out of somebody going for a gaming scholarship than you are from a football scholarship jock. I mean, that's the biggest thing I'm latching onto here. If you can have scholarships and people taking like sports and football and stuff that seriously, then why can't you have it for video games? It's the same principle.
It is, except for the fact that their sports teams, their footballers, for example, and so on, will make them a massive amount of money. At the moment, the point these people won't.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the monetary factor here. I'm talking about
but that is a
the
factor.
worthwhileness of it.
No, but that is a factor. That's my point. Is that as far as the school's concerned, they will take on people for sports athletic scholarships because they make them money. That's the whole reason for them doing it. Now, this isn't necessarily for the money, so that there has to be another reason why they're doing it.
Well, even more props to them if they're not doing it for the money. I don't like taking money as a consideration. I know in the world it is a very, very large consideration, but I'm very anti-money.
I mean, you can be as anti-money as you want. It's still
I know
very much there.
I'm just thinking
the factor.
My point is, if they think that playing American football is worthwhile use of like resources and time and everything, then esports definitely is, because the people who play games that committedly typically tend to be what people call the nerd demographic.
That's what I.
The ones who study hard.
This is my point. That's what I've just said. That's the point I came up with. You're stealing it like some sort of
I'm not stealing it.
Man.
I'm agreeing.
You're stealing my Robbie man. Thief.
Yep, I'm stealing your Robbie man.
No, you're a stealing Moke Robbie man.
I'm stealing your Rob. Since when did you own Robbie Williams?
I did, just because he comes from where I live.
He's not your property.
He is. He's the
He's
son
a
of
free man.
Stoke-on-Trent.
He can do what he wants. Yeah, he's had some issues in the past, but he's a good guy. You shouldn't try and oppress Robbie Williams like that.
Hey, we've got like 3 or 4 people that have come from Stoke-on-Trent. Robbie Williams.
Don't say slash. Don't say slash. Don't say slash. He only lived in Stoke.
Slash.
He only lived in Stoke briefly.
Slash. And the captain of the Titanic. Okay? We are not doing well.
The captain of the Titanic.
The captain of the Titanic was from Stoke-on-Trent. Don't know if anybody knew that who's watching, but that is true.
That's nothing to be proud of.
We don't tell
he done
many people.
fucked up.
That's not something we kind of put on our posters. Come to Stoke-on-Trent. We sink ships.
He ignored warnings of the bloody
we sink the
icebergs
unsinkable
and stuff.
I mean that's pretty impressive. We sunk the unsinkable. I don't know. I'm just putting that out there.
You sunk the unsinkable ship. Well fucking done.
Anyway, should we talk about Dark Souls 3? Because you were getting all Steely McThieferson.
I wasn't getting Steely McSteelixson. I was agreeing. I was reinforcing your point.
Stop stealing. Stop being a thief. Stop being a thief.
I'm flipping off the camera
Stop being
for him. Not you. Don't worry.
I don't
Right.
tend to swear at the people that watch our show, but whatever. That's fine.
I'm not swearing at the people who are watching the show. I'm flipping off your camera, not their camera.
Everybody can see that you just did it. So
We have 2 cameras here. You know, I'm waving at you. Hello, I'm giving you a thumbs up. I'm fucking him.
please don't bug me.
Dark Souls 3. Bandi Namco want people to stop streaming after a certain point, but people have already streamed past that point, and you know it's on YouTube and everything. They want to basically they don't want to spoil the game, which I can kind of respect. This is less of the clamping down of we don't like Let's Players, we don't like streamers, they're taking revenue away. But what the fuck are you doing? Dropped your blue tag, haven't you? It's not a we want to stop people Let's Play because it takes revenue away from us. They're saying we'd appreciate if people didn't stream after a certain point because we don't want spoilers, basically. And this raises an interesting issue. I mean, you could say just don't go and look up that game, don't go and look up that point, but you will inevitably stumble across something, whether it's someone spoiling it deliberately or somebody saying it accidentally in passing, like somebody dies in this, that and the other. I'm thinking of a specific occasion where somebody found out something about Star Wars in YouTube comments by accident.
The whole Darth Vader and Luke thing.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe that Vader was his uncle.
It's his father, Nick. You got it wrong. Yeah, I mean, with Dark Souls 3,
I know.
I have. No, you don't. You're too big a Trekkie. Dark Souls 3.
I am a Trekkie.
I've never.
I am a
Shut up.
Trekkie. Hence the
I've
whole
never watched.
starships.
Very
but
good. I've never.
wait,
fuck you.
wait.
Shut up. I don't. Nobody gives a crap. I've never watched a Dark Souls video. Okay, not once. But yet, I've already had the final boss of Dark Souls 3 spoiled for me.
I got a fucking lightsaber.
Shut that fuck up. I've already had the final boss of Dark Souls 3 spoiled for me because it came up in a suggested video on YouTube.
Hello.
So, regardless of the fact that I you know, it turns out that I actually don't care. But imagine if you had searched for Dark Souls videos, you will almost certainly have had that spoiled for you now. I also understand that GameSpot used kind of gave away some of the bosses in their videos, just in the name of the video, so that people, if they were just glancing through what media is currently available from GameSpot, would have had that spoiled for them. However, that isn't really the big issue here, as far as I'm concerned. Why isn't this a worldwide release, a simultaneous worldwide release? It's not, because they're fucking lazy. If Bandai Namco had just bothered to release the whole thing worldwide, this wouldn't have been an issue. The problem is that the game is currently out in Japan, so everybody's currently got it. Now, they also allowed people they gave out kind of advanced copies and told those people that were streaming the game, you're not allowed to play past a certain point. However, there was a glitch on the Xbox One store. If you followed some pretty convoluted rules and so on and so forth, you could download Dark Souls 3 immediately. And I think it was due to the fact that it was currently out in Japan.
Something similar happened with Hitman, didn't it?
People who had been given these advanced copies were just then purchasing the actual copy through this convoluted method, and then they were able to stream as much as they bloody want. And why wouldn't these people stream as much as they possibly can? That's what's going to get them the views. The issue isn't here aren't the streamers. The issue here is Bandai Namco and the fact that they are fucking idiots in the world of the internet.
So you're blaming it on Bandi Namco simply because you think they're lazy?
Yeah, because they didn't do a worldwide release. This is a game where the lovers of Dark Souls 3, they care so much about this game, and I fully appreciate that. And they care about they have such passion for the game, and they don't want these things to be spoilt for them. So why create a situation in which it can be spoilt for them? Why not do service to your biggest fans and provide what's necessary for them to get the most out of the game?
To be fair, it's bad enough when films come out and different release dates in different countries and spoilers are all over the shop. I have to just avoid the internet for a few days. So this is worse for they have to avoid things for 3 weeks.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
all I have to say. Yep.
It's just ridiculous. So now they're suddenly telling people, please don't stream past a certain point. Fuck you, Bandai Namco. Fuck you, right in your stupid name.
Fuck you straight. Your stupid name. They have that name for a reason.
No, they don't.
It's because Bandai and Namco.
I'm fully aware of their merger in the 90s. I don't give a shit. They can fuck themselves with their own ass. Yeah, I've seen it.
He's in a sassy mood again. So we should.
I'm sick of these big companies complaining when people do things that they don't want, or because they didn't do it right in the first place. That's not our issue. That's their issue.
We should move on to a happier topic.
They can stop trying to limit our freedoms. Freedom! Shouldn't shout, sorry.
Free Robbie Williams from Marty!
I don't have him locked up in my basement.
You don't even have a basement.
I have a basement. I have a loft. That's where he's locked up.
Oh, he's in the loft, is he?
Yeah. So,
well, it was
the other day.
April Fool's Day the other day.
What? Yeah, it was.
It was April Fool's Day the other day.
I know, was there?
I think we all were.
Did you see Snoop Vision?
Yes.
That was amazing. So YouTube did this thing where they were kind of talking about being able to watch any YouTube video in 360 degrees with VR with Snoop Dogg.
Watch this with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I absolutely love Snoop Dogg anyway. He's so funny. He was in the latest
Snoop
series
Lion,
of Trailer Park Boys. Pardon? What?
Is his name not Snoop Lion now?
I don't know. No, he used to call himself Snoop Dogg. I mean, it was called Snoop Dogg in that thing, wasn't it? But yeah, he was in the latest series of Trailer Park Boys. I hadn't seen that much of Snoop Dogg prior to that point, but now that I've seen him in Trailer Park Boys, I have a lot of respect for the guy, and he is very, very funny. So yeah, that just kind of topped it off for me. That was perfect. The Snoop Dogg, you can watch everything in 3D with Snoop Dogg.
Well, you know, I said it was on Netflix. Netflix decided to go with an April Fool's that said they were having a new series about this guy I've never heard of.
Stamos? Jason Stamos?
Yeah. Don't know who he is. But everything, all your suggestions come up, films that Jason Stamos likes. Films that Jason Stamos doesn't like. Films that Jason Stamos probably isn't in. It's like, to start with, I just saw this Jason Stamos. It was like, films for Jason Stamos. I thought my Netflix account had been hacked. It was like, who the fuck's this Jason Stamos?
Have you been on Netflix this morning?
No.
They have an apology from Netflix to Jason Stamos.
What?
It's just Netflix saying, yesterday we had this stuff up. We apologise profusely to Jason Stamos because we didn't take him seriously. However, now we are definitely going to be doing this, this, and this. And then it kind of zooms out, and Jason Stamos is just standing behind the chief executive of Netflix, kind of making him say it. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, none of these things that we've talked about have been to do with gaming. So
No, they have not.
So stop it. So Hearthstone. You know Hearthstone, that game that's based on the MMO, World of Warcraft? Well,
Yeah.
it's getting its own MMO, according to those people. Which I thought was pretty good. And talking
That's
about
less
VR,
of an April Fool and more was just a bad joke.
yeah, I mean it wasn't great, but in some ways it was alright. Have you heard of Google Cardboard Plastic?
No.
So Google have bought out Google Cardboard Plastic, which is just a see-through plastic thing that you put on your face so that you can see reality. So why go with virtual reality when you can see reality? Which, I mean, is kind of an overdone joke as far as I'm concerned, but still, it's yeah. I mean, they bothered to make a full-on whatchamacallit website for it, which is pretty interesting. And they talk about
Basically,
the fact that no, cool.
April Fools is just an excuse for people in these companies to dick about for a couple of weeks making random funny websites and stuff, isn't it, really?
Pretty much, yeah. Which, I mean, is kind of nice. I mean, there was another one by... it was by a fan site for Rocket League, but they announced that Rocket League was going to have its own rage quit button. Bot. That as soon as you were down by 2 goals, it would rage quit for you. Which is on point. I like that one.
I want a rage quit button. That'd be good.
Pardon, sorry?
I want a rage quit button. Fuck you, bomb! Well, actually, has not Five Nights at Freddy got a rage quit button?
I don't know.
I thought if you just hammered escape, then it would just shut down the game. I know, I've never actually played it, so...
I don't know. Another one of my favourites, things was, and I know that Nick's going to say, "Oh, you love them." Blah, blah, blah. Game Grumps. They did a. They did 3 videos. See, they did 3 videos. They're quite well known because they don't have face cam. They just have the camera of the game, simple as. Now, what they did was, because people always ask them about doing face cam, they decided to only do face cam. So they're sitting there playing a game that you can't see whilst they talk about it. What they did was they did it with one of the most requested games, Skyward Sword. And so you can't see them playing the game. Of something that you desperately kind of want to see them play. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was on point. God Mythical Morning, they did just 11 minutes of silence. I sat there throughout the whole thing. I genuinely sat there watching it.
Well, you would, because you're weird.
I kind of feel that.
I wasn't impressed by Jacksepticeye.
It took me a while to realise that it was because it was... what?
I wasn't impressed by Jacksepticeye's April Fool's thing. He said it's the world's loudest Let's Play, and then he just started speaking like this. It wasn't even particularly quiet.
Fair enough.
It's a bit of a shame.
Crap.
I was this channel was supposed to not have face cams, and then you insisted on it. So now we do face cam.
Yep. It's all part of our charm. Like deadly,
What, the
deadly
fact that
charm.
you say do this, and I'm like, okay.
And you loved it.
Ep.
You loved every second of it. You're like, face cam.
No, I don't like people seeing my face. This here is an ugly face. You do not want to see this face.
You've seen my face, right? I have a face.
I know you have a large, glorious beard.
I've got a bit of a beard going on. I'm probably gonna have to shave it though. It's pretty.
Yeah,
upsetting.
that's not near. To be fair, that's not nearly as glorious as I have seen your beard before. I can't remember
that's
for
the thing.
yours
I
at
want to
Christmas
grow
once.
it. I want it to be a decent beard, but
You want a proper
I have
neck
had some
beard, don't
pretty
you?
good beards. No, I absolutely don't. That's something I need to shave. I need to get rid of the whole neck thing.
I've actually shaved.
I'm more
One
of
of
a
our
facial
commenters,
beard man. Pardon? What?
one of our commenters has said that I actually look 10 years younger when I shave,
Fair enough. You probably do. You're like
which
a
is
child.
interesting.
You're
They'll
like a
make me
child.
17. Hardly a child.
Yep.
Well, when I was 17, I didn't
Child to
exactly
me.
consider myself a child.
Yeah.
I
you're
consider-
stupid like that.
I consider myself a man about town. I spent all my time in Game Station playing Skate, trying to do a 1080.
Sweet. Oh, I never played that. It's only good.
No.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
think we should stop now because this is the end of the webcast because we've been going over our time a lot lately, and I need to bugger off in about 15 minutes. So
Bye,
give us an
everyone.
outro, Marty.
So
That was a shit outro.
I was Marty, and the other guy on here was Nick, and we talked about games somewhat rationally, but largely irrationally. I hope that
Yeah, as we
you
do.
enjoyed your time with us, and if you would like to send us money, please do so by going to the link above.
There is no what.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.